everybody, this is Eileen here and this is Jin Yong. We are both from Genius Plus Academy. In today's episode of Bite Size Learning for Parents, we are going to touch on a common problem that parents face, which is having a distracted child at home. So, Jin Yong, maybe you can tell us some of the characteristics of a distracted child.
Some of the complaints that parents always give me, they have kids who will do the work that is given to them, but they will not sit through and do it all at one go. They will start walking around, or they will, go to the kitchen, take water, keep going to the toilet, things like that. Then there are those that will rush through the work that is given to them, so they will not complete it according to how it should be done, but they will just very quickly and get it over and done with. And then there's another kind that completes the work but doesn't bother to check their work. So they say, oh, I'm done, so that's it and that's that. What about you?
Okay, from my side, I think some parents did mention that, like for example, the kids will try to get their way out of doing the task they are supposed to do. So for example, they are supposed to do math homework, right? They will tell you, Mommy, maybe can I do science first? Or maybe can I do English first? So they try to find tons of other things that they want to do before they can do the task that they are actually supposed to do. So this is one of the characteristics of a distracted child. And another type of student would be, another type of child would be trying to ask you for all the answers that is supposed to be in the question. So for example, they will ask you, how to do this? Can you help me? Can you help me do this? Can you help me? I don't know how to do it. So they will try to get their way out because they just want to finish it quickly and they don't want to think through how to do the question or how to do the task they're supposed to do. So this is another type of student, another type of child that parents actually commonly talk about.
That sounds exactly like your son, actually. Now, how do you think we can help students or parents like this to deal with the kids when they are exhibiting these kind of issues?
I think motivation is a very important factor. So motivation helps the children to drive them to do something that they want to do. So it comes in two forms. So one of the form will be extrinsic motivation and the other will be intrinsic motivation.
We always hear about motivation. What is it that is so important about motivation? What exactly is motivation and how does that affect the students' learning or the progress that they make in learning?
So basically motivation is the one to do something that they want to achieve. So it is the accomplishment that they want to get after completing a task. So I think that motivates someone to do something, to do a task. So we can actually use extrinsic motivation to help them feel the accomplishment. So for example, extrinsic motivation, like we can offer them incentives. So maybe because you need to get a certain number of marks. Okay, maybe you want I will tell my child, okay, I need you to maybe improve in about 5 marks for the next test. Then I can give you something that you like. So we actually construct a reward system together with the child. So it must be something that the child likes. So it cannot be, oh, I think my child like a Lego set. So I will say that, okay, I want my child to improve 5 marks. So I say, can you actually improve 5 marks? I'll give you a Lego set. But it doesn't necessarily mean that is what the child wants. You need to check and plan this together with a child for the reward system in order for it to work.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you there, because even in our classrooms, I'm sure we have used reward systems, and sometimes we find that the reward system is not effective because the reward that we are presenting to the child is not something that the child wants. So I think it's very important as far as the communication process that the parent and the child must sit down together to work out the reward system and make sure that the rewards are something that the child really, really wants and not something that the parent thinks that the child wants. So the communication process there, even between tutors and students, I think that's something that's very important. But what about intrinsic motivation? It feels like something that's very abstract. We hear about it all the time, but it's not something that people have a very clear idea of, or what can we do, or what can parents do in order to improve the intrinsic motivation or make the students want to learn naturally, so to speak.
So I think intrinsic motivation, basically in simple terms, I would say that you are motivated internally. You don't need any external rewards to make you want to learn. So I think that intrinsic motivation somehow will come after extrinsic motivation. So they have to be motivated first before they can be intrinsically motivated. They must enjoy the joy of accomplishment, like what we said. So if they feel happy, they feel wow, you know, I'm so satisfied with my results, so I want to continue to improve some more. So that comes with intrinsic motivation. So I think the kids needs to feel the sense of accomplishment before they can actually have a sense of intrinsic motivation, be intrinsically motivated themselves.
Okay. So what do you think are some of the processes, or what do you think are some things that parents can do to help to improve, whether it's intrinsic or whether it's extrinsic, it doesn't matter, but what can the parents actually do in order to improve the motivation factor of their kids?
Maybe I would think, from my point of view as a parent, I think that maybe we can break down the steps to achieve a certain goal into very small bite-sized steps to let them feel the joy of achieving something without feeling like, oh, you know, the goal is so far away. So we break it down instead of telling your child, can you like work towards getting 85 for your SE2, but actually this child is only getting maybe 70. So how can we make the child feel motivated to work towards 85 at the end of the year? So we can actually tell the child at the start, maybe maybe by CA1, okay, by March, maybe for the weighted assessment, you can try to work towards 75%. So an increment of 5 marks, or like maybe 2-3 marks, it will be easier for the child to achieve. And from that, when the child feel that, oh, I can achieve that actually, so then the child will slowly move towards being more motivated to get 85 at the end of the year.
So you are saying that the sense of accomplishment or the sense of achievement that the child will feel as it crosses off each step along the way is something that is very important to drive them.
Yeah, I would think that getting them to achieve small steps it will help them to in turn get that kind of intrinsic motivation to achieve 85 marks at the end. So it's a small steps of goals that they can achieve, and then at the end they will achieve the ultimate goal.
I see. Personally, in my classroom, sometimes what I will do is I set a task, and then I also set a timer for the child to complete the task. So my theory is that, of course, when we set a timer, we must make sure that the timer is actually more than sufficient, because sometimes you set a timer, it stresses out the student. That's not the effect that we want to achieve. We want to make sure that we give them sufficient task as far as possible, so that the student can complete the task under the allocated timing that is given to them, such that they feel that sense of achievement as well. I think that is the same objective that we are trying to achieve, even in the classroom on a day-to-day basis. So I think that is something that the parents can try as well. Further to that, I think what is very important is that we cannot leave the children to struggle. I think when students start to struggle, sometimes they lose the motivation. So there are times when parents will need to step in, especially at the initial stages. You may want to handhold them a little, although not all the way, because otherwise they are not learning on their own. But you must not allow them to struggle too much, otherwise they lose that particular motivation and they feel as though, I'm never able to make it, so what's the point? So I think the idea that they must know that they are able to achieve the outcome is something that we want to instill in the students as well.
Okay, I would agree with that. And then I think that the most important thing, right, to actually make the child less distracted, because there are a lot of distractions at home. So at home they can do a lot of things, like they can walk to the kitchen, they can sit down and read a book, or they can sit down and watch the TV, or they can use the iPad and things like that. So the most important thing I think here is to limit the screen time that they have, because sometimes when they are too occupied with screen time, their attention span becomes shorter. That's what I feel in general. Even as a mom, I feel that with television or with videos and things like that, it kind of make the kid attention span shorter. They cannot concentrate when they are actually when they are actually watching the show, and after they get them to do something, they cannot concentrate on the task they're supposed to do, because in their mind their mind is still thinking about, oh, what happened in the show, that kind of things. So I feel that limiting screen time would be one of the ways to actually reduce distraction in the child. What do you think?
that sounds like something that parents need to do, not just when the children is in schooling age, but when starting from young. So expose them to less devices when they are young. So I think that's something that's really useful for parents to take note of. Alright, thank you. That's all that we have today for our bite-sized learning video for parents. Stay tuned to future episodes of our video, and we hope that you will be able to subscribe to us so that you can catch up on all the content that we have on the YouTube channel. Thank you.